composition and nature of the capsule shell. Please remember, we are talking about the capsule shell now. We are not talking about the internal material. We are just talking about the capsule shell. So what is the composition और what is the nature of this capsule shell? जो capsule shell के अंदर जो material आता है, okay, इस capsule shell का nature क्या है, इसके properties क्या है, okay, what all is the composition of this capsule shell, okay. So what are the composition? The first thing and the most important thing that will be present inside it is gelatin, isn't it? Because it is a soft gelatin capsule. So first important ingredient that is present inside this is gelatin. And what are the properties that are required from gelatin? First of all, the Bloom strength of gelatin should be 150 to 250. Bloom strength is very, very important. What does this Bloom strength affect? This affects the stability and it also affects the cost of gelatin. Higher the Bloom strength, okay, higher is going to be the stability. Higher the Bloom strength, higher is going to be the cost of gelatin. Okay, so everything boils down to this Bloom strength, right? And the Bloom strength in case of soft gelatin capsule is 150 to 250. In case of hard gelatin capsule, it ranges from 250 to near about 220 to near about 280 to 300. Okay, that is the Bloom strength. The next thing that is, so gelatin, from gelatin you require first is Bloom strength. The second thing, we are also going to see further Bloom strength in detail. Okay, what is Bloom strength, etc. we are going to see in detail. Next thing that you require from gelatin is the viscosity. Viscosity of near about 38 millipascal per second is required. Okay, 1 millipascal second is equal to 1 centipoise, 1 cps. 1 cps is this unit you know about it. Okay, so 1 centipoise is nothing but 1 millipascal second, right? And what should be the viscosity? Near about 38 cps, okay, or 38 millipascal second. This should be the viscosity of your gelatin solution, right? The quantity that is used is how much? Near about 40 to 50% of gelatin is used when you prepare the capsule shell solution. This much quantity of gelatin is being used, 40 to 50%. And generally which grade? Generally USP grade gelatin is preferred when you prepare the gelatin shell. So let us see the features. First of all, require Bloom strength, which is required near about 150 to 250 grams. The unit is gram, please remember, because it is the weight. Okay. Then the next thing is the viscosity, which you require near about 25 to 45 millipoise you require. Okay, a pascal per second. Then you require what you call that, the content of iron. Gelatin raw material contains iron, okay, as one of the ingredient inside it. Okay, iron is one of the ingredient. So iron should not be more than 15 ppm. Okay, if it is more than 15 ppm, then it is going to react with the material that is encompassed into this capsule shell. So capsule shell mein jo material hoga, with this material, this iron that is present inside the shell is going to react. Okay, hence we require not more than 15 ppm. And also the microbial content of the gelatin should be very less. It should be not be more than 1000 organisms per gram. Okay, and there should be total absence of Salmonella or E. coli species. Okay, so this is something about gelatin. Okay, some properties that are required from gelatin, which is used as one of the important raw material in preparation of this capsule shell. What are the next other materials that are used? The other materials that are used are plasticizers, as I told you earlier. Plasticizers are very integral part of this soft gelatin capsule shell. How much percentage of plasticizers are used? Near about 20 to 30% of plasticizers are being used. Concentration of plasticizers is being used. What does this plasticizers do? It imparts plasticity, isn't it? It imparts elasticity and it imparts the pliability. If you have tried to press this soft gelatin capsule, you can see it is what? It is little bit elastic in nature. if you try to press these hard gelatin capsules, they are not elastic in nature. This elasticity is provided by the plasticizers. Okay. Example, as I told you, glycerol, sorbitol, okay, polyethylene glycol, propylene glycol, okay, these all can be used, can be used as a plasticizer. Now, the next important component that is present is water. Okay. Now, usually water to dry gelatin, okay, this dry gelatin to water ratio is near about, so water is 0.7 to 1.3 is to 1 of gelatin. So if you are using 1 gram of gelatin, then near about 0.7 to 1.3 gram of water is been added. Equal, you can say, if you take a mid of it, it also comes as 1. So near about 1 is to 1 is the ratio of water to dry gelatin. Okay. So 1 part of gelatin, 1 part of water, and near about 0.4 to 0.6 part of plasticizer. Okay. This is the usual concentration of these three material. So these three are the most important material when you consider about the capsule shell, that is gelatin, plasticizer, and water. These are the three important components of the capsule shell. Apart from this, there are some other important ingredients also that are present. Let us, this I have taken from your Latchman. Okay. So usually if you take typical shell hardness ratio, then if the shell is hard, then the ratio of dry glycerin to dry gelatin, so glycerin to gelatin ratio, plasticizer ratio we are talking about, okay, is 0.1 to 0.4 to 1 when the capsule is hard in nature. Usually it is used for oral, oil based, or soft shell softening products, okay, and they are basically used in hot and humid areas. When the hardness is medium, okay, then the glycerin ratio increases from 0.4, the glycerin ratio increases to 0.6, and hence the hardness, it decreases from hard to medium. It is usually used in case of temperate areas. Okay. If you add more amount of gelatin, in case of soft gelatin, okay, very soft gelatin, then the dry glycerin ratio is increased. So as you increase the dry glycerin ratio, forget this word dry, okay, glycerin and gelatin, you consider in this way. So as the glycerin ratio increases from 0.4 to 0.6 to 0.8, okay, the hardness of soft gelatin capsule, it is earlier it is hard, it becomes medium hard, and then it becomes very soft. Okay. So this is the change in the hardness of the shell as the glycerin concentration is increased, and this kind of what you call the 0.8 is to 1, this ratio is used when the area is very cold or dry area. In this case, this kind of soft gelatins are being prepared. Okay. Now, apart from these three important ingredients which we talked about, which was gelatin, then we talked about plasticizer and water, there are other ingredients which are also being used in your gelatin shell. We are talking just about the gelatin shell now, please remember. Okay. The other ingredients that are used are preservatives. Okay. Usually the parabens are being used. Near about 0.2% of preservatives can be used. You use coloring agent. Okay. The coloring agents can be used in the form of water soluble dyes, lakes, or vegetable colors can be used in quantity sufficient. What kind of colors you require in that. You can use opacifying agent. For example, titanium dioxide can be used near about 0.2 to 1.2%. If you don't want to expose your preparation, okay, to sunlight, then these agents can be used. It prevents photo degradation of your light sensitive material. The shell, it becomes non-transparent in nature. You must have seen many shells which are transparent in nature, and you must have seen many shells which are non-transparent in nature. Okay, when you add this opacifying agent, the transparent shell becomes non-transparent shell, and which prevents the photo degradation. Okay. The other ingredients that can be added are flavoring agents. For example, essential oils, okay, can be added. One of the example is ethyl vanillin, near about 0.1% can be added inside the capsule shell. Sugars can be added if you are preparing a chewable, as I told you, chewable soft gelatin capsules are also prepared. So if you are preparing chewable soft gelatin capsules, then sugar or and flavoring agents can be added. Many times gelatin agents are also added. Now, as I told you, iron is a very important component that is present in gelatin. Your gelatin usually contains, okay, the raw material gelatin usually contains iron. Okay. Now, the iron that should be present should be in the limit of 15 ppm. But there are many ingredients, okay, which are prone to react with iron. Okay. So, in order to prevent the reaction of iron, you can add some chelating agents to the capsule shell. So, this chelating agent, they take care of this iron that is present. Okay, they take care of this iron that is present. So, this iron does not react with the material, or it does not react with the colors that you are adding over here. Okay, with this coloring agent, this iron does not react. So that is why you require a chelating agent. And the last thing that you require is medicaments. If you are preparing a chewable kind of a, if you are preparing a chewable soft gelatin capsules, in that case, your capsule shell should also contain a medicament because it is a chewable kind of a soft gelatin capsule. So these are the different materials, okay, that are present in capsule. That is gelatin, you have water, you have plasticizer, you have preservative, you have coloring agent, opacifying agent, flavoring agents, you can add sugars, okay, you can have chelating agents, and also you can add medicaments. In case of chewable soft gelatin capsules, medicaments can also be added. Otherwise, these medicaments usually are added inside this capsule shell. Over here, the medicaments have been added usually, but only in case of chewable, okay, soft gelatin capsules, they can be incorporated in this capsule shell itself. Okay, understood? Yeah. Any problem till here? You have any problem till here? Any question? Any question I have? Understood everything up till now? So what we have seen is, up till now we have seen what is a soft gelatin capsule. We have seen what are the advantages of soft gelatin capsule. We have seen what is the disadvantage of a soft gelatin capsules, or what are the limitation. Instead of disadvantage, let us call it as limitations. What are the limitations of soft gelatin capsules? Then we further went on to see about the capsule shell. So what are the ingredients that is present inside the capsule shell? In that, we saw that gelatin is one of the important component, isn't it? In order to prepare a capsule shell, the most important component that is present is gelatin. And along with gelatin, some other components are also present. Now, when we talked about gelatin, we talked about three things in gelatin. We talked about bloom strength, that it should have a particular bloom strength. We talked about, the viscosity of gelatin. There should be this viscous, the gelatin solution should be viscous in nature. And we also talked certain viscosity should be present. And we also talked about the iron content, that the iron that is present inside the gelatin should be limited to 15 ppm, right? So let us talk something more about it. Also, we talked about the that the gelatin should be of USP grade, etc. These other factors also we talked about. Okay. Now let us talk about one of the important factors, that is the bloom strength. Okay. So what is the bloom strength? Bloom strength is also known as gel strength. It is very important. Please try to understand the definition of bloom strength. It is nothing but the weight in gram. Okay. It is nothing but the weight in gram required, okay, by a specific plunger. So this is the plunger. So weight in gram required for this plunger to depress the surface of gelatin. So you have a gelatin solution over here. Okay. So you have a gelatin solution over here. What is the concentration of this gelatin solution? The concentration of the gelatin solution is 6.67% weight by volume. And what is the temperature of this? The temperature of it is 10 degrees Celsius. So for this gelatin solution, which is 6.67% weight by volume and whose temperature is maintained at 10 degrees Celsius, this plunger, which is having a diameter, this diameter, okay, this diameter, which is 0.5, okay, how much weight is required to be exerted on this plunger so that this plunger is depressing this gelatin shell without breaking it. Okay, so it is depressing the gelatin shell, something like this. Okay, it is depressing this gelatin shell, something like this. So it is depressing in this way. It is depressing the gelatin shell by how much? By 4 mm. But at the same time, it is not breaking this gel. So how much weight is required to be exerted so that this plunger, okay, so that this plunger, which is having a diameter of 0.5, is depressing this gel without breaking it, okay, by 4 mm. So ये कितना गया अंदर? This has gone 4 mm inside. And what is the temperature of the gel that has been maintained is 10 degree. So how much is the weight that is required? Hence, the unit is in gram. Usually, okay, the Bloom strength ranges from 50 to 350 grams. Okay, so 50 grams to 350 grams of weight. Okay, when you exert on this plunger, then this plunger goes near about 4 mm deep. So if you're putting 100 grams of weight, okay, and this plunger is going 4 mm deep, then what you'll say, the Bloom strength is 100. If this gel is very thick in nature, okay, then you're putting 100, then you're putting 110, you're putting 115 at 120. Okay, this has gone now, it has gone slowly, you're putting the weight, it has gone down, it has gone down, it has gone down. At 120 grams, it has gone 4 mm deep. Then the Bloom strength is 120 grams. Have you understood this? Have you understood this Bloom strength? Good, good, good. Now let us move ahead. Okay, let us move ahead. I have a video on it. Just see this video.
Specific preparation procedure is followed, including particular equipment. The measured result is named after
Now this, okay, this Bloom strength is given after the name of Oscar T. Bloom. He was the one who found out this Bloom strength. Okay, and this is the apparatus. This apparatus was used by him initially. This kind of apparatus was used by him. Now this apparatus is been replaced by texture analyzer. Okay, which video we are going to see further. So this was the apparatus which was used by Oscar T. Bloom in 1925 in order to find out the Bloom strength. This is known as the gelometer. Now see, if you see this, okay, this is been manufactured by FDC or FTC, okay, and FTC is calling this as texture analyzer, which is measuring the Bloom strength. This is the probe, okay, this is the piston, which is having 0.5 mm, which is having 0.5 inch of diameter. This is the gel solution, and this is weight is been applied, which is recorded over here. So it applies the weight, and when it goes when it goes 4 mm in deep, how much weight is required, that has been tested.
The FTC texture measurement system can control the gel Bloom strength.
Just see over here.
Automatically output results. FTC feature. accessories conform to the appropriate test standards ISO 9665, AO8C 1985,
They're telling about their
Shelter
equipment.
manufacturers of Europe, and those based on
They're advertising their equipment.
The half-inch diameter probe is made from the highest standard of food-grade materials. A suitably rated load cell is selected to maximize the measurement accuracy. The automated test program is easily written with the familiar Windows-based environment. Commands are selected to perform each of the steps. Gel strength is calculated from the peak force, represented in grams. The program can be saved to a library and recalled for reuse. The touchscreen control texture analyzer runs tests at the push of a button. Minimal training, ideal for quick, reliable, and repeated testing to quality standards. The prepared gel sample is placed on.
So this is the Bloom bottle. Okay, this is the test sample. Okay, which is placed inside the Bloom sample. This is the table on which it has been placed. They have shown it earlier.
Aligned with the probe. Texture analyzer controls the whole procedure automatically. The flat surface of the cylinder locally compresses the surface of the gel by 4 millimeters. Real-time graphing clearly shows the behavior of the sample under test. The TMS software clearly displays the result, which can quickly indicate any out-of-specification samples. Peak force in grams is the recorded Bloom strength. Texture analyzer can repeat the test again and again.
Okay, understood? Understood? No, it is not official, Sanjana. Okay, but this test I have not seen it in IP. I don't remember seeing it in IP. Okay, Sanjana. But this is the most important test. Okay, which is used for determining the gel strength. Whenever I want to prepare a capsule shell, whether it is a hard gelatin capsule shell or whether it is a soft gelatin capsule shell, okay, before preparing a hard gelatin or a soft gelatin capsule shell, I have to do some quality control test. Okay, in those quality control tests, these three tests, whether it is a hard gelatin, please remember, whether it is a hard gelatin capsule or whether it is a soft gelatin capsule, okay, these two tests, viscosity and Bloom strength, they become a very integral part. Apart from it, when you are preparing a soft gelatin capsule, iron content also becomes very important. Okay, so whenever you are talking about quality control of soft gelatin or hard gelatin capsule, okay, shell I'm talking about, okay, these three parameters are very important. Okay, now let us move further. So we talked about your Bloom strength. Let us now talk about viscosity. Okay, viscosity is also determined when the concentration of gelatin is 6.67%. When you have 6.67% concentration, okay, of gelatin and in water at 60 degrees Celsius, at that time, okay, you determine the viscosity. How do you determine the viscosity? If I would have been in the class, then I would have asked you how do you determine the viscosity? Everybody would have said Ostwald's U2 viscometer. Okay. So except for Ostwald U2 viscometer, okay, except, that would have been the wrong answer. Except for Ostwald U2 viscometer, Ostwald's U2 viscometer is being used only for the solutions which are having very less viscosity. Maybe sugar solution, maybe glycerin, उसमें भी वो jam pack हो जाता है in sugar solutions also. Okay, so for very less viscous solution, Ostwald's U2 viscometer is being used. For these types of preparation which are viscous in nature, okay, for these types of this thing, you usually go for a Brookfield viscometer. Now this, yes, perfectly right, Jivika. So you usually go for Brookfield viscometer, or you can go for other types of viscometer also. There are different types of viscometer. Okay, now in Brookfield viscometer also, this is a dial type of Brookfield viscometer which I have shown over here. This is available. Why this is the one that I've shown over here? Because this is available in our MPharm lab. Okay, so this is the dial kind of a viscometer, Brookfield viscometer, which consists of number of spindles. So these are the number of spindles. You can see these spindles over here. they contain number of spindles over here, right? Depending upon the viscosity of the preparation, if it is very highly viscous semi-solid kind of preparation, then you go for a higher spindle number. So these kind of spindles you go for. Okay, the bigger spindles you go for if it is highly viscous in nature. If it is not that much viscous in nature, then you go for smaller kind of spindles. Okay, these are the smaller kinds of spindle that you go for. Depending upon the dia reading, this dia reading is multiplied by your factor chart. So this is the factor chart. Okay, so with this factor chart, you multiply this dia reading and you get the viscosity. Okay, let us see the video of it.
Work field viscosity measurement instrument. It is a very excellent, very precise mechanical type device. It's also precisely controlled a motor that can change speeds and that measures the viscosity of the fluid. Turn on to show you how it works. First, very important that it be absolutely on a vibration-free level surface. Out of the range of air currents, particularly anything that could possibly come in and affect the measurement. First, turn it on, it's a simple switch. And you start to see the dial rotate. As we progress through the speeds of this particular model, that's a half an RPM. 1, 2.5, 5, 10.
This is the RPM. It is adjusting the RPM. At different RPMs, okay, you can check the viscosity.
Now the different speeds are important. And depending on which spindle that you use, that'll help you decide which speed you use. Now, the way it actually measures the torque required to
So as I told you, there are different spindles. Depending upon your material, you are going to choose a spindle.
is through a series of spindles. Now these spindles attach underneath here. Onto the motor. Once they're immersed in the fluid, they then will measure the amount of drag on the spindle.
So this spindle you hold in your liquid and you operate it. So depending upon how viscous is your solution, okay, it is going to resist the movement of the spindle. And that reading you will be seeing on the dial that was over here. When you multiply that reading with this factor, you get the answer in centipoise. Okay, got it? Let us move ahead now with the iron content. Okay, so second thing that you determine is viscosity. It is determined on 6.67 concentration of gelatin, same as for your bloom strength. The only difference is here the temperature is 60 degrees Celsius, there the temperature was 10 degrees Celsius. Okay, the next thing that you determine is the iron content. Why you determine the iron content? Because it is present in raw gelatin. Okay, this iron is present, and the concentration usually depends upon water also, water iron content also. Okay, and usually what you do is if you have the dyes that you use are FD&C kind of a dye, food, drug and cosmetic dyes have been used. Okay, and these dyes, they are going to react with your iron. Okay, and hence the quantity should not be present more than 15 ppm. So you determine the iron content which should not be more than 15 ppm. So these three things you determine in a gelatin that you are going to use. Let us see a typical formula of your capsule shell. Okay, it contains gelatin. Apart from gelatin, what are the other ingredients that are present? Okay, let us see the first formula that is given in your Lachman. Okay, it contains of category 1 and category 2. Category 2, as you know, are optional. Category 1 are what? They are compulsory being used along with, these are the additional component. Okay, that should be used. One thing that uses methyl paraben and propyl paraben, these are used as preservative. Always remember, okay, for lifetime, whenever you are using the combination of methyl paraben and propyl paraben, they are used in the combination of 4:1. 4 parts of methyl paraben and 1 part of propyl paraben. If you see over here, propyl paraben is near about, आई एम सो सॉरी, आई एम सो सॉरी, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा उल्टा हो गया मेरे से. ओके, so it should be in the quantity of 4:1. I did a little bit thing over it. This should have been, propyl paraben should be 0.1. Yeah, propyl paraben should be 0.128, whereas methyl paraben should be 0.512. Okay, so in this combination it should be used, that is 4:1. This should be the combination, and the concentration, as I told you earlier, is near about 0.2% of the total formulation, right? Then you are going to use the colors. Usually the certified lakes, pigments and dyes and vegetables colors can be used alone or in combination. The quantity that is used is quantity sufficient. Here the colors that we have used is brilliant blue, okay, and we have used sunset yellow. These two colors we have used in this quantity, okay. Then the next thing that you are going to use is opacifying agent, which is titanium dioxide. Again, the percentage that is used is near about 0.2 to 1.2%. This is titanium dioxide that we have used. Then we use ethyl vanillin. As I told you, it is used as a flavoring agent. Then we are using essential oil again as a flavoring agent. This can be used, okay. And then the other thing that we are going to use, which are optional in nature, we can use sugar, and we can also use fumaric acid, okay. This fumaric acid is going to aid the solubility, and it also reduces the aldehydic tanning of gelatin. If aldehyde is present, okay, inside the capsule body, if the material contains aldehyde, and it is going to cause the tanning of the gelatin. So if that is happening, then what you can do is you can go for the use of fumaric acid. Okay, got it? So this is the typical formula of your gelatin sheet.